You can't, adding peripherals later, like adding the Kinect later.
But it's not a peripheral. I'm talking about software as far as like how you control the software, where it goes. I mean, that's stuff that you can change over time.
What we've been pitched is not a good option.
Yeah.
I'll be clear.
Yeah.
I do believe that there is a good option that is better for the gamer and better for the hardware manufacturers and better for publishers and developers than what we have. Sony's answer, which is great press and very simple to come up with, we're not going to scare you, we're not going to change, is awesome today. In 3 years, not so sure, because Sony and Microsoft yesterday were fighting against each other. In 3 years, they're fighting against perhaps Apple, perhaps Amazon, perhaps Samsung. Much bigger audience, much different world. And again, when we saw the last console launch, there were no iPhones.
Yeah,
there were no social games. There was no Zynga. There was no mobile or tablet gaming. We need to learn from those platforms. There is valid gameplay and valid things to learn from them. To a certain extent, we're incorporating none of that by simply saying we're sticking with status quo. Don't be scared.
But that stuff is changeable by software. I mean, they can evolve over time.
Yeah, and on top of that, that stuff is kind of going to be up to some third-party publishers along the way too, where if they want to, the online pass solution is messy, but I feel like Sony just said it's not going to go away.
That was a bad solution. Again, we keep trying to tape on solutions. We had an opportunity as an industry to radically change things to be better for everyone, and I don't think either party has done that. I'm not suggesting anyone's, Microsoft should. I'm not apologizing for Microsoft, and I'm not saying that Sony has done anything wrong by what they're doing. I'm saying there is a better world. We did not find it from either of them.
How much do you think this conversation right here is going to impact, which machine people choose to buy between gamers? I mean,
there's so much that's going to happen between now and launch that will determine that.
But people are pre-ordering now. I mean, that's the thing, is everyone's trying to, pick a winner now.
They are, but it's not the first million that are going to matter. It's the first 30 million that determine.
And when those pre-orders, what happens when they cancel those pre-orders because the the subsidized model has picked up, and all of a sudden both of them are coming out for $199.
Another awesome opportunity, by the way, that we didn't see yesterday from either party.
And I would not be surprised if by November at least one of them have it locked down.
Yeah, especially with Microsoft with all of this online. I was shocked that they didn't say, hey, you're going to get it for $299 if you lock in for Xbox Live for 2 years or something like that. Like, I guess the door is open for them to say that today or tomorrow.
That's the key, right? That's the key. The door is open for these good ideas to be added in, and neither party is fixed in what they said yesterday.
But I would agree. I think Microsoft, though, has had bad messaging globally. I think their messaging has been very U.S.-centric. I think that the price drop, or the price that they offered really, was unfair to the European market. And I think that's a message that they've made very clear to the rest of the world, and you're not winning this next video game round just in the U.S.
And Sony's done very well overseas. Overseas, especially the farther you get from the Western European market, U.S. market, the better Sony tends to do. And they do have bigger issues with being online all the time as you move farther in the periphery. It gets tougher. So Sony has addressed their market, and more power to them from yesterday.
Because a lot of, I was thinking about this last night and was saying, maybe what Microsoft's doing is this, their sort of future-proof box, as Don Matrick calls it, is that sort of their Blu-ray, like Sony was sort of hampered by the cost of Blu-ray and that dragged them down. But then I thought about, what you were saying, Annie, is that it's all software. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff, like, DRM restrictions and everything, those things can change in an instant. Just like iTunes, it's like you thought everything was all in the Apple ecosystem, and one day they said, like, oh, by the way, it's all free and clear. You can just match your songs and take them wherever you want. So this could all change, I guess, overnight.
iRadio was announced 2 days ago, right? And all of a sudden, for no extra money, I have Pandora in my pocket from Apple. Awesome. There's no reason, as these systems get connected, you can't do that. Disconnecting the system, which there seems to be a consumer groundswelling to want to do, does prevent you from doing some of this stuff.
And that's a thing where even that 24 hours thing, I would imagine everyone that plays games now probably pings the internet at least once every 24 hours, and that's no problem, but people worry about that edge case, the fail state.
It's just like, I don't understand why we have to put anything in such black and white terms. That's what annoys me too, is that, like, you're right, in the phone and mobile market, there's games that they're on the cloud, they're on the server.
Killing it.
You have to be connected to play it. And I understand that. But when I get on a plane and I don't have Wi-Fi or whatever, which
you're probably not paying your Xbox One on a plane. If you are, you've got a sweet plane, dude.
True enough. But I'm just saying that, like, there's times to let people be disconnected. You know what I mean? Like, your kid's in the living room, he's connected, he goes, I want to keep playing this game, I'm going to go into my room and play, whatever. Maybe you don't have internet in that kid's room. I mean, there are options. There's a way to, like, move around and not have everything be so black and white, to let people enjoy a system they paid a lot. That you're, first of all, that you're asking them to pay a lot of money for. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Remember that's
the
like a
consumer
value
at the end of the day
proposition.
makes their decision.
So
And
they
they
will
can't
with
be
them.
blamed for any decision they make. That's the consumer.
They have
Consumer's
choices.
right. Consumer rules
Yep.
on any business like this.
They have choices. Now, they showed a lot of games. We saw Metal Gear Solid. We saw the announcement of Halo. We saw Titanfall from Respawn, which looks absolutely incredible. I mean, that game's going to be exclusive to the Xbox platforms. But when you look at it all in totality, that 90 minutes of yesterday, Jeff, what grade would you give to Microsoft for that press conference by itself?
You know, I think that press conference by itself, if you start to remove all the other information about the system and wall it off to just the games, you know, letter grade, I'd probably give it a C, C+. Like, you know, it was a good slate of games. They've got some of the expected stuff, and they're kind of hitting what they need to hit, while also kind of finally getting into some of the smaller games that Sony's really been chasing and making a big deal about by having like D4, you know, it's like Swery's next game and that sort of stuff. They did what they needed to do on the games.
Solid C. Andy Mack?
I mean, I think the C is right. I mean, they had some great games. I agree. Titanfall was amazing, and they have some good lineup stuff there. But I think their messaging. I think people really enjoyed their press conference in the morning, and they were because they were like, oh, they finally talked about games. You know what I mean? It's like you gave someone something that tastes poorly, and then you gave them something that tastes okay, and they were like, this tastes great. And I felt like there could have been better messaging. I thought Rise looked bad.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there was some of the messaging as far as like they didn't talk about in the Ubisoft games. They didn't talk about Elder Scrolls. I mean, they look out of touch, even though I don't think they are.
Well, they didn't talk about, you know, a lot of these issues like Jack Tretton, you know, a lot of straight talk, just talking to the audience as gamers. I mean, Microsoft was very much on script. They didn't even really reference all these other issues that are kind of happening on the periphery outside the games that people are thinking about when they pre-order the box. So, all right, so C from you as well?
Yeah, probably C. I mean, you could even throw in C and you drop sound numerous times. You know what I mean?
That happened on the Super Bowl. Give them a break.
Don't hold that against
If it happens to the Super Bowl.
Exactly, that's true. Jason Rubin, how would you see it?
A grade, I don't know, B minus.
Okay. B
You know,
minus.
I'm only looking at yesterday morning's press release, which was the question you asked me, not the furor surrounding previous and past. B minus.
No, I mean,
there were some interesting games there.
A lot of games.
Project Spark, I thought, you know, if you understand as a developer what they were showing, because it went by very quickly, looks to be unbelievable in terms of the potential to, in effect, take somebody who's sitting at home, doesn't know how to get in the game industry, and give them something that could teach them how to make games.
Yeah.
To me, that's awesome, right? That's a huge thing. Didn't really come across, but I can read in seeing what was going on, you know, what the potential of that is. That huge. Thought that game was I tweeted it immediately, like this could be very big. So maybe I'm a little friendlier.
No, when you look at like Titanfall, Metal Gear, I mean, a lot of the content looked incredible. It's Killer Instinct games that people have been wanting for a while. So, I mean, there was a lot of core games there. It's just all the other stuff.
It's also hard to tell which games that were shown at one or shown at the other aren't going to be for both. So you can't give credit to, you know.
Well, that's why like Titanfall was a legitimate exclusive game for them, whereas Metal Gear will be on
PC,
both.
By the way.
That's true.
And PC. So it's
everyone's favorite neutral territory.
Yeah, it's on PC. It's
Look,
on PC as well.
PC could be the ultimate winner next generation.
Totally.
Could be.
Right, so let's not count them out. We don't talk about it, but PC, last generation, it was the death of the PC. I think we're looking at a very different world now.
And especially since games can be
has
ported
changed
across
everything.
all these systems very easily because they're all PCs basically.
Big screen
By the
mode.
way, Steam can't resell your game.
Right.
Prices on average significantly lower.
Yep.
Way open to indies. Lots of selection, lots of variety. Big fan with consumers. There's a situation in which you can both get rid of resale and also make people happy. It exists.
Well, it's how you. I mean, I think that's the core of what we were saying. It's how you communicate with people. And like Steam didn't go, hey, you can't do this or turn something off. They said, this is our service. This is what our service offers. Would you like our service?
Absolutely.
Which is a completely different messaging than what the industry is doing right now.
Where you can't resell stuff. As did, you know, there's a lot of these out there. So it's not
they're all digital,
unheard
right?
of.
And that's the thing is, I think, you know, even you saw in Sony's press conference, they said, you know, for disc-based games, the question is, what is the disc market going to be versus digital in the next generation? So we'll have to see. All right. Well, that's it for Microsoft. And when we come back, we are going to move on to Sony. And let's now take a look at what they said yesterday about the PS4.
See all of our shows and game reviews now on the brand new GT app on Xbox Live and the GT Originals iOS app too.